do de do 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 da 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 da.
Good morning, my friends. I hope you can all hear me. Let me go ahead and put on some background music here. It's been a long time since I've done a chill art stream, especially around these hours. This is Arnoldo Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger, and I just wanted to go ahead and do this stream. As you can see, I'm reorganizing things like every couple of months as I try to decide where to put things and whatnot. I don't know if it's like being a little OCD or whatnot. As I put in the description, I've been toasting 300 subscribers to the YouTube channel. If you're watching over on Facebook and Twitch as well, a few days ago, my YouTube channel actually reached 300 subscribers, so that's a pretty big thing for me because I never really expected my channel to have that many subscribers, to be honest. Let me go ahead and share what I'm working on right now. This right here is the remake to the issue number 1 cover of Fred Peterson, The Mighty Warlord, True Full Comics Edition. Thank you very much. Actually, let me make my screen a little more even. Let's see, how do I do this? I guess that's good enough. If you hear jumping around, that's my cats. Anyway, that's the original cover, which you saw in the video intro. Poor John, he always gets the worst end of everything. If you know, you know. If you've read the webcomic from the beginning up until now. So I've been toasting 300 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I also wanted to work on I don't know if I'll be on long enough to finish it. It's been a very long day, actually. I really haven't slept since yesterday. Just organizing stuff, getting stuff ready, working on the comic and such as well. I'm planning the web comic as well. And as you saw on Monday, I did the cover reveal for the prologue as well. And if you're wondering what my poison of choice is, cranberry juice, and of course the Jinro Soju. Which, my apologies, in the very early days of streaming last year, I actually called it a Japanese drink, and it's actually not. It's actually Korean. And it does matter to me because I have seen so many K-dramas, and I have seen them drinking, even specifically Jinro, as like their product placement, I guess. I never kind of made the connection. I don't know. I always kind of assumed it was Japanese for some reason. Even though the fonts are obviously, the characters are obviously Korean. Well, obvious now. So I just wanted to share with all of you guys here real quick. Let's see how I do this. That's kind of cool, actually. I rarely have the opportunity to kind of play around with this stuff. To all my friends in Puerto Rico and Florida, I hope you're all doing well after all the hurricane madness of the past couple of days. First Fiona in Puerto Rico, then Ian in Florida. Crazy times, man, but at least it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So yeah, if you have noticed, again, looking back at the original cover, I did make some changes to the original. As you can see in the background, or just like overall, the illustration itself is kind of dark-ish. The tones are relatively similar, so even though people tell me it's a good-looking cover, it's not as good as it could be, in my opinion. And I always kind of had that problem with it, and I never really could put my finger on it. And it wasn't until I started to learn more about color composition and all that that I realized that the coloring is being affected quite a bit. Like the coloring could bring out so much more out of the line art and the composition of the art and make certain areas pop out more. So I'm going to go with a lighter kind of motif with the cover, even though I am definitely keeping a lot of elements of the original cover in this one as well. I've been having so much fun working on these comics again. Pretty soon my schedule is actually going to be changing quite a bit in my personal life, so I don't know how I'm going to manage the live streams, like starting in a couple of weeks. Like I'll probably have to adapt from doing late night live streams like these and just do like morning live streams before my day job or something. Also, at least for the time being, it's not going to affect Boricuas contra Todo, at least for like another month or so. Well, that's a bridge that we'll all cross once we get there. For those who don't know, Boricuas contra Todo is a live stream that I do with Chago Rodriguez of the channel Chago de Approved Comics. It is in Spanish, and we talk mostly about indie comics and kind of motivate people to do their own intellectual properties and kind of how to navigate these tumultuous waters of the independent scene and kind of also tell them cautionary tales of not signing off on your intellectual property blindly and stuff like that, especially if you're going to either partner up with someone or do merch or selling the rights to your characters or stuff like that. Almost kind of like a buyer beware kind of thing. But we also talk about any important thing that's happening in the industry, whether it be mainstream or independent, as well as have guests on the live as well to talk about their projects and how they got into comics and whatnot. And it's more focused in to Latin America, Spanish speaking people. I probably will try to do subtitles for it for English speaking people as well, of course. But again, that all depends on how much time I'll have, especially over the next couple of weeks. Alright. Cheryl is so much fun to draw. I don't get to draw her nearly as much as I would like nowadays, to be honest. So it's very much fun to be illustrating her now quite a bit because of the remake of this series for a printed run. I don't think that's much of a spoiler if you haven't read my webcomic yet. Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. And you should, if I do say so myself. But where would you read Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord? Now that is a fantastic question. And I will show you the answer in just 1 sec. I just kind of want to finish this little part here real quick, and I'll get back to that question. There we go. And let me go ahead and save, of course, because I don't want to do the same mistake I did once again in one of my early draw streams where I forgot to save and the laptop actually shut down after my cat's here saying hello. Then I lost that illustration, and what I had to do was take a screen capture of the live stream so I could be able to keep working on that illustration. I had to go into some very deep MacGyver stuff there. All right, so let me just pull this up here real quick where you can read Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. Let me stop sharing here real quick. One of the places where you can go to read Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord, just go to www.truthfulcomics.com and make sure that everything's all right. There you go. www.truthfulcomics.com. The site does have to be updated a little bit. Both Manuel Carmona, the co-founder of Truthful Comics, and I kind of got a bit busy this year. Towards the middle of the year, so we haven't been updating the blogs especially as much as we would have liked to. We are going to start resuming that soon, but the webcomics are up to date, so you can definitely come here. Just click on the webcomics tab. You can make your way down, and the first webcomic that's going to appear is Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. The very first cover in that row that you're going to see, of course, is going to be the prologue cover. Everything is going to be titled, so just hover your mouse or your stylus, if you use that, or your finger, and you'll see there TNW Prologue 1, Webisodes 1. So all this is book 1. Of course, when book 2 starts, it's going to be appropriately marked as well. So every single chapter up to now is available. Chapter 27, of course, which will be resuming next week, hopefully. As you can see, it is on the latest page. And actually, if I go back and go down to Nevermind, through the Truthful Comics edition, it is also now up to speed as well. The entire season 2 Truthful Comics edition has been updated as well on the website, so you can definitely check that out. Once again, that's www.truthfulcomics.com. Go to the webcomics tab, and you'll be able to see the Warlord, every single Warlord chapter, as well as the original Nevermind, the TC edition of Nevermind, Clown Rogue Assassin, the Cannon Girl Truthful Comics edition, which also is up to speed. The entire thing is here as well, as you can see. The Mysterious Exorcist, Delta Task Force 6, Whipamani Wepito, the TC edition of Whipamani Wepito, and of course, Stupid the Cat. You know, my entire catalog of creations are here, so you can definitely come over to truthfulcomics.com and check that out. And where else may you find my works? You can go to my very own website, of course. You can go to www.artofalvaro.com. And as you can see there, the landing page with my artwork, and of course, the more recent comics that have been printed out and that are available for purchase. Once again, the Cannon Girl is not here because there's still problems with Indie Planet and Kablam. So I'm still kind of rearranging to see how to fix that. Actually, let me see if by some cosmic coincidence it's actually on Indie Planet. Okay, let's see. And as far as I can see, no. And again, this is something that I've been struggling with since January. Manuel Carmona has had it even worse because he's been waiting since late November for Project New Wave issue 3 to be available on Indie Planet. Important news there. You saw that, of course, due to Hurricane Ian, Indie Planet in house operations are going to be shut down at the very least until today. Right, and I'm just searching here, and of course, the Canning Girl is not here. It is not available on Indie Planet just yet. Let me go into my Kablam account actually, because last time, um, like a couple of months ago, it appeared that I hadn't even submitted it at all. So I had to resubmit it. And when I asked if that's going to affect my queue, the position I was in, they just sent me this random copy paste announcement that they had made on Facebook a while back that really didn't answer my question. So I hate to keep constantly calling them out like this, but it's just gotten ridiculous. The last straw was the way that they were treating some of my colleagues. Okay, so it hasn't been kicked back to be resubmitted. I guess I'll know around December if I have to resubmit it again without an explanation. Thank you, Kablam. Thank you very much for your excellent customer service. But you can see here the comics that are actually available to order through Kablam. Bear in mind that since they are going through the hurricane situation, Hurricane Ian, if you order the physical copy, it might take a little longer than usual to arrive. So if you really want to see any of my comics, if you want to like support me or whatever, you can definitely buy the digital copy of it. It's an instant download. You'll be the only person to own it. And it's not limited, of course, to just these three um, comics that you see here, like Stupid the Cat, Ain't It the Life, Truthful Comics Edition, Nevermind Season 1 Truthful Comics Edition, Nevermind the original 12 strip collection. If you go to the shop tab, go to this link right here and you'll see all the titles that are available for purchase at Indie Planet, like Project New Wave issues 1 and 2, the aforementioned Nevermind, and of course the original Book 1 Studio 22 Comics edition of Fred Peterson the Mighty Warlord, the prologue, issue 1, issue 2, and of course the webisodes, which has been retitled issue number 0 to kind of avoid some confusion, and of course Stupid the Cat. All these titles are the ones that are available right now on Indie Planet, and actually if you go to Fred Peterson the Mighty Warlord, the webisodes, let me go ahead and share that screen now. When you click on the shop tab, all right, let me dismiss this. Fred Pearson the Mighty Warlord number 0, which is the webisodes, which are short stories that kind of flesh out the characters a little bit more. This story goes between the book 1 prologue and issue number 1. It's $1.99 if you buy the physical copy, but if you choose the digital download, it is actually free to download. So you can download a free copy of the webisodes if you so desire. And I'll definitely drink to that. I have tested the site myself. I have bought other products on that site, other webcomics. Well, not webcomics, digital comics, and it's a smooth operation. Only once I ever encountered a bug where it didn't allow me to download the digital copy of a comic. But actually, they were pretty fast with their reply when I inquired about it, and they gave me a different server to download that issue, and I didn't have any other problems, and I haven't had any problems since that one random time. So at least I can say, like, in terms of actual service, providing a service like downloading a copy of a comic there, it's actually pretty good. You know, I will give it 2 thumbs up. Saludo Humberto. Oh wow, I caught you. I caught you just as you're getting ready for work. Contrary to other times that we catch you while you're going to be leaving. Just been here celebrating a little while the 300 subscribers, and also showing off the latest cover that I'm doing, and just taking advantage and showing off the Indie Planet shop real quick. I hope things are doing better down there in Puerto Rico. For those who may not know, Humberto Art Comics has a great YouTube channel as well. If you're a Spanish speaking person or you understand Spanish, I definitely recommend you to check out his YouTube channel as well. Like, he has a bunch of great YouTube shorts showing off his character Guardia Guardian, and he also has a great series of vlogs talking about his creation and pretty much his daily life as a creative as well. You should definitely give it a check. So once again, you can definitely download this for free if you want to have like a taste of what my comic book is about. And once again, my comic book, as it says there, it's a world mixing Puerto Rican culture, fantasy, a lot of character development, action, romance, comedy. It has a little bit of everything in it, to be honest. I guess because that's what I myself prefer to read. Those are like my favorite types of comics. So, as I've always said, if anything, Fred Pearson, The Mighty Warlord, is a love letter to all those comics and mangas and animes that I thoroughly enjoyed while I was growing up. So if you want to at least have a small taste of what it is, you can download this webisodes for free over at Indie Planet, or you can just go to the aforementioned truthfulcomics.com or my website artofalvaro.com, and you can read the entire saga up to now for free as well. Right, going back to my website real quick. Let's see, where is my website? Okay, here we go. I just have to click back real quick to go back into the shop tab. And there you go. Click the webcomics section. Click down here. And it'll take you right back here so you can read it. Or, of course, actually, I have to fix that because I do have my other website where it is that I'm actually uploading it as well. Let me just pull that up real quickly. All right. Let's go ahead and share here. Wrong tab. Right, there you go. So that link is actually supposed to go to this website, which is enterthedangerzone.weebly.com, which is my older website where I pretty much upload everything. And again, Serene Chaos, the Art of Lance Danger. Hi. Of course, now playing is the final arc of Book 2 in Chapter 27 of The Mighty Warlord. Jane is dealing with Fred's sudden disappearance and her emotions while trying to be a good friend. Can she manage to do both? And of course, there's blogs, which again, I have to get up to speed on that. And the aforementioned webcomics, of course, as you can see. Warlord is here in its entirety as well, and it's up to speed. And as I mentioned before with Nevermind and The Cannon Girl, it's all up to speed here as well. And you can read all of my other creations here as well. This is the link to my podcast, the Serene Chaos podcast, which will be resuming soon. Don't think I forgot about my own podcast, please. And of course, this is more like artwork, like portfolios and art that I've had around. Store, of course. Actually, this leads to my Kindle store, which I have to update as well. Like, there's the novellas of Funny Bone, Rage of the Lucky 13, Volume 1. There's Volume 2. I have to update Volume 3, and so on and so forth. And also, I believe this is where I'm going to sell the bulk of my comics right now, at least in the digital format. Because selling it through Kindle will actually automatically make it go through Comixology as well, as far as I can understand. So the comics itself, I can sell it as a digital comic through Kindle. This here right here of Funny Bone is not a web comic. As I said, it's they are novellas, they are short stories, and they are in prose. So no artwork outside of the covers. I have to update my website, man. sometimes life gets in the way and it just sideblinds you. So that's pretty much where you can go ahead and, of course, read all of my works. Once again, that would be www.truthfulcomics.com. If you want to stay up to, well, we're gonna be putting out more news, of course, as we um, are able to catch the ground under our feet. Like a lot of plans went sideways this year for Manuel and myself. Hopefully there will be more good news soon. Thank you so much, De Corazon Taino. I really appreciate that, man. Super talented artist, De Corazon Taino. I believe he is working or already finished a book that he was working on. Hopefully, one day he'll be on the stream with Chago and myself, talking about his art and his works and such. Like, you definitely have an open invitation, De Corazon Taino, to come to the stream at some point whenever you're able to do it. Right, so that's www.truthfulcomics.com, or you can go to my personal page, www.artofalvaro.com, or if you just want to read just Fred Peterson itself without the thrills and frills of going to any of the websites and being distracted or whatever by anything else that's there, you can also go to one of the original places where Fred Peterson was being updated, which is, of course, the duckwebcomics.com, the website formerly known as Drunk Duck. And here you go. And once again, everything's up to date here. If I'm being honest, this is actually the very first place that I update the webcomic, and I do so a lot out of loyalty because, again, even before I made my own website once again, this is where I was updating it. When the forums were starting to crash and burn in the mid 2000s, this is what became the actual home. ¿En qué año fue tu primera publicación? What year was my first publication? I'm going to break it down into a couple of answers, actually. If we're talking about the first time that I was actually published, the first time I was actually published was 2002. It was for a nonprofit organization for cystic fibrosis. It was an indie zine studio, if you wish to call it that, called CF Comics. It was based in St. Louis. And I had sent my portfolio to kind of, get out of my shell a little bit more. I don't really talk about this much, but after high school, I had done a pretty good portfolio to the extent where a lot of people were telling me that I was like Marvel and Image level at that time. And I had like a severe case of imposter syndrome, and a lot of personal things happened in my life at that point and I actually got clinically depressed at that time. So I actually didn't touch a pencil for over a year after I finished that portfolio. And oddly enough, I was going to show that portfolio to a different Puerto Rican creator that had asked to see my portfolio because they were interested in my services. But I actually even canceled that meeting because I was just so depressed back then. And once again, it was like a huge case of imposter syndrome. So I just kind of like unofficially quit being creative during that time. And once I started picking up the pencil again, once I started looking at my old works again, I was kind of getting like that bug to create again. So I went ahead and, of course, started with Warlord. But I was in a relationship back then that she told me that I should probably branch out a little bit more as well. So I reached out to different, very indie studios because I didn't want to be seen as mainstream even back then to an extent. So I got contacted by this indie scene publisher, not nonprofit CF Comics, as I was saying, and they published my first artwork there. And they were also the first people to actually publish a script that I wrote as well, which ended up being the last comic that they ever published because um, as it happens, sometimes there were creative differences between the organizers of the zine and the actual president and organizers of the nonprofit. So the person that was running the zines actually came to the decision to just close operations on the zines, and it was actually very sad when that happened because I really grew attached to the fellow creators and the characters on those books. So technically my first published work was 2002 for Captain Fantastic issue number 3. And then after that shuttered around 2003 2004, that's when I ran into Cazadores Esotéricos from Juan Lapaix for Dream Graphics, one of the first Puerto Rican comics that I bought. And it used to have like two stories actually, that it was like you could just like flip them. So one story was Cazadores Esotericos, and another story was a fantasy story called Fairy. And I did fan art of that character actually, and Juan Lapaix actually published that in issue 2 of Fairy. So my first Puerto Rican um, publication was actually in Fairy number 2, where he published my fan art. And then, of course, in 2005, that's when um, 2005 was when I first started publishing online, Nevermind, and then finally Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. And it wasn't until 2010 that I finally published the copies that are available on Indie Planet. So physical copies around 2010 for Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. A little bit earlier if you count the zines that I self-published as well of Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. The first one was like 2006, I believe. I started like selling in small conventions and trading with other colleagues as well. Yeah, it was kind of a loaded answer. I'm sorry. Like the path that I've taken has never been like kind of like a straight one. It always kind of diverges because I'm so complicated that way, I guess. Like, yes, this year was the 16th anniversary of Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. And as I discovered this Wednesday, this month is actually the 15th anniversary of having my YouTube channel. That is so freaking crazy. But yeah, if you just want to like go directly to read this specific webcomic, you can just go to the.webcomics.com. You can like if you it's a pretty long URL, so I'll put the link in the description later on, but you can just go to like the.webcomics.com, go to the search bar, type in Fred Peterson, and you'll find it immediately. There's not that many webcomics that start with Fred in their title. So the too long didn't read version of that answer that I gave, 2002 was the first actual published material for CF Comics. 2004, 2003 was my first fan art published in a Puerto Rican publication, which was Fair, Dream Graphics One Lapaites. And the first Warlord publication, I would say the first print was around 2005. Very few people have that one. Um, the second print of the prologue of Warlord was in around 2006. Like that one is a little bit more common. Manuel Carmona actually surprised me by showing a picture of him still having that comic. I think a couple of other people still have it as well. The third printing is a little bit more well known, which was also still like zine mini comic size. That was like around 2009 for the convention Manuel Carmona did in Utuado. That's probably one of the better known ones. And of course, the fourth edition, which is the one that's on Indie Planet. And very soon, the fifth edition, which I made the cover reveal on Monday. For anyone that missed it, let me just go ahead and pop that illustration up as well, so you guys can check that out too. Here it is. Technically, this would be the fourth printing of the prologue for Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. But as I've stated before, this is for the Truthful Comics edition. Contrary to the previous printings, which was just literally reprints of the same artwork, the same pages and whatnot, with maybe the lettering a bit touched up to make it more readable back then. I was starting to learn how to digitally letter a comic and whatnot. This one, as you can see from the cover, is going to be completely from scratch. The artwork, the covering, the lettering, even elements of the story just started from scratch. Because once again, I lost a lot of that artwork, if not all of that early artwork, when I was living in Puerto Rico due to hurricanes, floods, storms, tropical storms, you name it, power surges. So I lost a lot of physical art, and a lot of hard drives got fried as well. Even surge protectors died on me because of the power surges. That's how bad the electricity has been in Puerto Rico for so long. So I'm doing the Truthful Comics edition, where, as you can see, I did the prologue cover again. I kept elements of the fourth printing of the cover because it's actually the most common image, and a lot of people really like that cover. I don't know if I have the physical copy with me right here. Like I should, yeah, here I have it, because I've been looking at them just to kind of unite myself. This one is like the more recognizable, I guess, of the covers, because again, it's the one that was the most accessible so far of the few printed comics that I have of Warlord specifically. The other one that's recognizable was the third printing, which is the one of Warlord hanging out of one of the fortresses in Viejo San Juan. I've actually gotten quite a bit of fan art after that cover. Let me look for that one real quick so you guys can understand what I'm talking about here. I should have it somewhere. More than likely, Facebook. Let's see. Like it's probably the only cover really that I've done that people have actually done fan art based on that image, which is so cool. It's amazing to think that people take time out of their lives to actually do an illustration based on something that I did. I always find that so mind blowing. Let me see if it's here on B sides. Well, actually, I can show like the first printing cover and the second printing cover of the prologue because I have those cover in this particular folder. Yeah, it's practically all Warlord on this stream. I don't do that enough, I think. Sometimes the mouse has a button that's very sensitive. That's actually the first printing cover of the prologue. I think I may have an actual picture of the cover somewhere, but I don't want to um extend this too much because then I'll have to like really dig deep to find it. And this is actually the second printing of the prologue. Brings back memories, man, to see those images. All right. Now let me see if I find that one in particular. If you would also kindly bear with me. I love this lo-fi music on this side, I have to say. Let's see. Those are like the Studio 22 covers. Let's see if I can at least find. Okay, I at least found this, which is like the cover but used in a promotional way. So as you can see, that's Warlord Agarita, one of the stands in the fortress in Viejo San Juan, Old San Juan. Like that's one of the more recognizable Warlord poses. Again, I feel very fortunate to even say that I have an image that's relatively recognizable, in that if you know kind of way. It has so much fantastic. I even hate calling it fan art because I hesitate to even call it fan art, to be honest. Because a lot of these artists are my colleagues and readers of the web comic, and it feels awkward to me personally to like call them fans or something. Like, here is one that is so fantastic. This was illustrated by the great Ramon Serrano. He showed this to me last year. And by the way, the other day he actually sent me two new fan arts that I just have to show you guys. Like, that is just so awesome. Like, you can just see the level of detail and care that he actually put into doing this fan art. And again, like, just seeing all the care that people put into their interpretations of these characters is just, I'll always be mind blown by it. I feel like showing off some of them, to be honest. Let me see. As you can see, there's quite a bit. Once again, I've been very fortunate to have such a diverse cast of people illustrating Warlord. And here's another take on that, but in a more futuristic way, done by my mentor, of course, the great Rigo Scorp Jimenez. Just amazing. I absolutely love and adore every single piece of artwork that's been sent my way that's based on my characters. This was done by the Torres brothers, Derek Torres and his late brother Lani Torres. If you've seen my live streams before, I've talked about it before. Lani Torres, good friend of mine, passed away like almost 2 years ago now. Derek did the pencils and Lani did the inking. Lani Torres was such a fantastic artist in his own right. This is another one of those that I love. This was drawn by a fellow webcomic creator. She also started at Drunk Duck around the same time that I did. Unfortunately, she doesn't really draw anymore. I do still keep in contact with her every now and again. I kind of hope she goes into making webcomics again. Like, again, there's just so much great stuff here. I especially love like the very experimental ones like this one. The funny story about this artist, um, this artist, she started reading my webcomic like towards the end of book one almost. So like maybe chapter 7 or chapter 8 she started reading. And at one point, I'm assuming she was either in junior high or high school. I never really asked. I really don't care, to be honest. And when I say I don't care, I mean in the sense that I'm not going to be like a creeper and ask people like, you know, are you in high school or what's your age or whatnot, you know. I'm just lucky enough that someone's actually reading my comics, so I'm not going to like be nosy about certain things. But anyway, she left a comment one time on one of the pages on the web comics. It should still be up there. Um, she had actually been grounded for a week for one reason or another, and she actually ran the risk of getting even more grounded by using her computer, yes, to keep up with the updates of Warlord that week. That's very high compliment right there. I don't brag much, but that's one of the few things that I allow myself to brag a little bit about. I'll allow it. Like I actually have to upload a couple of recent art that I've got in here too. And of course, let me go ahead and select this one. This one, of course, done by the late great Jose M. Reyes, another colleague in the Puerto Rican comic book scene. He called himself the number one Fred Peterson, the mighty warlord fan. And the funny thing is that he did this fan art as an homage to a fan art that I did of his characters Aramis. So it's very meta in a way, and it was just fun. It was just such a pleasure to know Jose, and such an honor to get to read his web comic and yes, talk comics with him. I definitely miss him. He passed away earlier this year. One of the great Puerto Rican comic creators that has passed away this year. The Corazon Taino, who commented earlier, did a fantastic tribute piece of Jose Reyes, Miguel Ángel Sanjurjo Gelo, the creator of Hibaro Samurai, and of course Pedro Cortés, the creator of Editorial Burbujas and Mundo Press, his comics Chupacabras Extra, and he also had an anthology comic where he wanted to like showcase other Puerto Rican creators as well. Three huge losses to the Puerto Rican comic book community all in the same year, which is crazy. And in the case of Jose Reyes and Gelo, that was like a week and a half apart. Like one passed away, and then the news came out that Gelo passed away as well. It's really numbing in a way. Like I actually had to take like a week off or like 2 weeks off of social media just to kind of get that mental health get back in check, because it was like very shocking to have these two colleagues that you've known for quite a while. In the case of Gelo, I had known him since I started really in doing comics. So those were two huge blows, and definitely Pedro Cortés was a huge loss as well. Like Jose actually used Fred in different capacities in his web comic as well. So there's other illustrations of Fred done by him, but I really haven't put it in this folder since it's specific to his story. I don't want to feel like I'm sniping his story and putting it over here just because my character appeared there. Unless, of course, it's something like this one right here. Once again, this is another creator that's actually still publishing on the Duck Web Comics as well. She also started around the same time that I was publishing on Warlord on the Duck. She was probably one of the very first readers of the webcomic on the Duck. And we have this recurring gag of two of her main villains have similarities to two of my main villains as well. So we have this recurring gag that they're actually buddies. And while they are buddies, their close female companions do not get along with each other, which has led to like many hilarious in jokes in both comics. I'm getting nostalgic looking at all these, man. Of course, this was artwork by Juan Lapaiz. That's Demonio Alafta, and of course Warlord. This was going to be part of this huge mega kind of crossover that was going to be done like in 2010-ish, 2009-ish, but it never really happened. But Lapikes did such a fantastic job illustrating those kind of promotional shots. That was one that he did, and I think I have another one around here as well. Here it is. Again, that's Don Algaro, two characters from Warhog Truck, if I'm not mistaken. Alafta, once again, Demonio, and of course Warlord up there as well. I think I should oh, this is another great piece by Rigo Jimenez celebrating the 700th upload of Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. Like, it's just interesting to see all the different renditions, all the different styles. It's just fantastic to see, and again, it really, just makes me so grateful to see all this. And here it's not really seen, but this is a stamp that a friend did on DeviantArt. I believe it showed different images. This is actually one of my favorites. They're all my favorites, really, for very different reasons. Here, I actually like the fact that Cheryl, Fred, and Jane are there together, and I think that's actually the only, or maybe there's maybe like two illustrations that features all three characters. Because I think Cheryl also appears in this illustration here. This one, of course, done by Derek Torres. Cheryl is not here. Actually, yes, she is. There's Cheryl there. Cheryl is kind of in front of Fred. And then below Fred and Cheryl is actually Charles and Jane. Charles, of course, Jane's boyfriend, or at least he was her boyfriend up until the end of book 1. He's trying to get back together with her. And of course, the top the right hand corner, all those 3 illustrations are of Funny Bone. And the bottom, of course, that's various sketches of Warlord himself. I know, very riveting stuff. Maybe I'll do a live stream one day just going over all of these one by one. I have a couple of more that I have to add here that are just fantastic. This one, of course, by J. L. Aviles and Marcelino Ventura, Ramon Serrano. All fantastic. All of them are just absolutely fantastic renditions. Once again, I am super fortunate to have people take time out of their days to do illustrations of my creations. Right. Sorry if I went on a tangent there, guys. Right, so let's see, how did I have this before? There we go, that's good enough. So The brand new cover for Fred Pearson, The Mighty Warlord Book 1 Prologue, Truthful Comics Edition. I can't wait to show you guys the interior artwork of it too. But I have to keep some things under wraps to surprise you guys. And of course, as I said at the beginning of the stream, this is the cover to issue number 1 of Fred Peterson, The Mighty Warlord Truthful Comics Edition, which again has elements of the original issue number 1 that I printed through Indie Planet. So I'm just going to work on it a little bit more as I talk a bit with you guys, if you don't mind. Kind of cleaning up this area here so I can have nice tight flats. I'm probably going to end the stream soon. Like, I went on a pretty big tangent that I did not expect to go on. I am sorry about that, guys. Especially if you're seeing me for the first time on Twitch. You know, at least specifically talking about all this stuff that I'm sure none of you have no idea that I'm talking about. Because I started relatively recently streaming on Twitch, which I have to get up to speed on as well. I have not done my gaming streams in a while due to a lot of conflicting schedules and just overall health problems that I've been having. But I've been tackling those health problems and I should be getting better soon, hopefully. At the very least, I want to stream when I, at the very least, finish cleaning up a little bit of these flats. But it was fun going down memory lane, seeing the older editions of the comic and also seeing the fantastic artwork that I've been fortunate of receiving from so many different and talented voices. I have to do some fan art myself, which I'm likely going to do as part of Inktober. Last year I failed Inktober miserably because of injuries to my shoulder. Let's see what challenges await me for this year. Alright. Let's go ahead here. Nice and clean. Speaking of October, season 5 of My Hero Academia is just around the corner now, and I can't wait. The manga is ending soon too. I haven't really kept up with the manga much except for recaps here and there, so I'm kind of knowledgeable of stuff that's happening, but there are some things that I don't know how it got to that point, so I'm pretty much starting to read it from the beginning and starting to get the older volumes to kind of get up to speed. I kind of miss doing this version of Funny Bone also. Like, one thing that I kind of like to do with Warlord is to reflect the passing of time by changing elements in the designs of the characters. Whether that's making Fred look more scruffy in book two compared to book one, his hair more messy. In the case of Jane, she had the long flowing hair with bangs for most of book one. And in book two, she has the shorter hair that's more shoulder length without the bangs. Donna's hair, for example, was cut extremely short. John's hair also got a little bit more shaggy compared to book one, though he's probably the character that's stayed relatively the same by comparison anyway. And of course, Funny Bone changed his color scheme in book two. So it's nice to like do the older designs of the characters because it has been a while since I've drawn them in this fashion. I still can't believe it's been 16 years. 16 years of actually having Warlord being online. Because these characters have floated around since like 7th and 8th grade up to this point. Let's see. All right. There you go. And like I said before, I wanted to change up the motif a little bit on the cover, not just do like quote unquote better artwork compared to the original in terms of line art, but again, the coloring, as I said, I kind of had a problem with it since all, and it didn't really hit me until recently when I, of course, took coloring classes and whatnot at SVA. All the colors are so similar to each other that nothing really stands out unless it's kind of like John down in the corner and Funny Bone at the other extreme of the corner. Like, the colors are so dark and muted that when you see bright colors like pink and yellow, that's where your eyes are going to go to automatically, you know? So for this one, I kind of changed it up a little bit, going with a more vibrant background color to make the foreground pop a little more, make Fred himself pop out a little more as well. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I am not used to talking this much anymore. Whew, that's better. So yeah, it's more about improving the color scheme than anything else to make certain elements pop out more that I feel should pop out more. Like, again, you know, in my opinion, Fred himself doesn't stand out that much because the colors are all, the tones are so close to each other. Like, the only reason Fred pops out just a little bit is because the white of his wings. And again, like, the negative space doesn't work in its favor because the wings are so um distorted, I guess. I don't know, like um that kind of like leads your eyes more away from Fred than helping to, you know, capture Fred and frame him in the proper, construction of the cover, the actual composition. So it's things that I really didn't think of back then, but that I have in my mind now, especially after being at SVA, learning about composition, learning about color theory and whatnot. So hopefully it'll be a better experience for readers, and hopefully it'll grab people's attention to at least pick it up from the kind of thumb through it, if they get interested. Mm. And of course, if you're not familiar with the characters, the central figure there that's being framed is in the image, of course, is Fred Peterson himself. In the circle to the left of him is his closest friend, Jane Marie Jackson. They just call her Jane. To the right of him in the circle, that's his girlfriend, Cheryl Smith. Bottom left circle, that is another one of his close friends, John Gardner. Full name is Jonas, but they just call him John. And of course, in the right circle, bottom right circle, that is Funny Bone, antagonist slash anti hero in book 1 and book 2. I've been on here for almost an hour and a half. Time really does fly. Alright, so let me at least block some elements off. And then call it a night. Well, technically call it a morning. Like, again, this is something that I learned in SVA to kind of help with the time and not be too precious at first with the just kind of block the elements out, and after you've blocked everything out, then that's when you get into the whole rendering aspect and whatnot, and you take your time separating everything. So if I'm coloring a little bit out of the lines, for now, that's okay. Because once again, it's about separating and blocking elements to make it easier to render later on. Like, Fred is the biggest element on the page, so I'm going to concentrate on him right now. And even though they're just flats that I'm working on, I already feel like he is popping out so much more than he originally did in the original cover that I did, which makes me happy. Let me not get a too dark of a gray because I already have zip tone there, so it would be almost like putting dark on dark, and I don't want things to get too muddied. Like, even though I struggled with the coloring, as I said before, the line art itself of the original cover is probably actually one of my most favorite line arts I've ever done for Warlord. And it makes me very happy that it's one of the more recognizable illustrations of the comic. And ever since I started sharing the image on places like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, there's been a lot of new people discovering the artwork and the webcomic too, which is again very humbling that I've been able to maintain a certain amount of readers that have been reading the book since the beginning or close to the beginning, and to still be finding new readers as well. Again, I don't have to be perfect just yet here. I just need to block out the elements to make it easier to render later on. But of course, you can already see it starting to take a nice little shape there, if I do say so myself. Right. So much fun to be working on these older versions of the characters again. And of course, always important, save your progress. Go ahead and serve myself another bit of a drink before I head out for the night. Well, for the morning. But again, I really haven't slept yet, so to me, it's still night. There's no sunlight outside, so to me, it's definitely still nighttime. Alright, so I have essentially blocked him out. I usually don't go for like too much details at this point, just yet. But yes, for the sake of the stream, let me, of course, color in the W. Where's your W? Of course, the slogan. It makes absolutely no sense, but I just always liked that slogan. I'll tell the story of that slogan sometime, but not right now. Because then I'll go to another. I will divert again to a different kind of story, and I don't want to be up too late. Because of course I have my own chores to worry about, and I have other artwork that I have to do as well. You go. You go. Let's block in those wings. And again, I'm not being precious with the coloring just yet. This is more a means to have everything nice and blocked out to make it easier to render and do the final colors. There you go. I usually always have fun during this part of the process. And I usually am listening to podcasts or live streams myself when I'm in this process. For some reason, I always find it more bearable to do line art while listening to music or do writing while listening to music. But for coloring and lettering, I actually prefer to listen to podcasts and live streams for some reason. And it's always been like that. Like, I would listen to podcasts before it was cool to listen to podcasts. Right, there we go. That's Fred himself has been blocked out, as you can see. Now, to make it a tiny bit simpler, I'm just going to select the circles so I don't have to worry about interrupting Fred's blocking too much. And I'm just going to start blocking off the other characters as well. Let's go ahead and start with Jane. Go ahead and block off her hair. Block off this part of her hair. Eyes. Alright. Go ahead here with her skin tone. I think that's good there. Again, not being too precious about it. Let's go ahead with Cheryl now. And of course, these are just for the flats. I know some of the color tones are relatively similar to the background. I'll deal with that when I do the actual rendering of the colors to give it a better tone that makes things more, creates more depth within the characters and the overall composition of the cover as well. I'm sorry if I get a little too technical sometimes with the terminology. Maybe one day I'll try to do like a marathon stream of doing a page or a cover from scratch just to kind of talk about process and whatnot. I don't know if anyone would be even remotely interested in that, but you never know. Hey, I didn't think I would actually make it to 300 subscribers, and yet here we are, my friends. So you just never know. Right. Alright. Cheryl's just so fun to illustrate and color. Again, keeping in mind that color composition. There we go. Let's go ahead and save once again. That way I take a small breather myself. Right. Let's now work on John. John Gardner. Our friend Jonas. There we go. There we go. All right. Let me make sure that I'm properly blocking off some areas. There you go. There we go. Work a bit on John here. There we go. Boom. Let's go ahead and block off, last but not least, Funny Bone. With his huge hair, of course. As I stated before, the original inspiration for Funny Bone was this clown doll that my mom bought as a gift for my sister, actually, when we were kids and when we were still living in New York. Um, Ridley Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus came to Madison Square Garden when we were kids, and we actually saw the circus. And my mom bought this like porcelain. It was like this weird porcelain clown thing. The hands and the head was like porcelain, but the rest of the body was um, more like fluff, like kind of like a teddy bear material, so to speak. More of a plush toy, but the head and the hands were actually like porcelain. And my sister had it for years. And my mom would babysit one of my cousin's daughters when she was a baby. You know, this is when we had already moved to Puerto Rico, of course. She was, as a favor, babysitting one of my cousin's babies. And sometimes she was prone to tantrums, especially in the beginning when she wasn't that familiar of being somewhere other than her home. So my mom like at one of those times that she was throwing a tantrum, actually took that doll out from my sister's room and put it in the crib next to the baby just so that she would play with the doll. And funny enough, she actually got terrified of that doll from the moment she saw it, which I guess reinforces that whole stigma of kids and people being afraid of clowns. Excuse me. Like she was absolutely terrified of that thing. And so every time she would kind of build up a bit of a tantrum, my mom would bring that doll out and show it to her, and she would immediately like get back in her lane. Like she would just like stop crying, and she would like start either watching her cartoons or start playing with her toys. Like it would like scare her straight. So I thought, wow, that would actually make an interesting character. So the original design was pretty much based off of that doll. And then when it came time to actually put him in the story, illustrate him in the story, by that time I was reintroduced to Rurouni Kenshin. I was able to get the mangas finally. I was really getting into the comic again, into the manga and the anime, and a lot of Kenshin's visual appeal made it into Funny Bone as well. So he's kind of a mishmash of circus and manga, I guess. Oddly enough, right? Double checking that I saved everything. So here are the flats. At least the very bare minimum basic flats of having everything blocked out. Later today or later tonight, I will be revisiting this piece to more than likely finish it, because once you get like this very basic blocking out, at least in my own experience, it doesn't take me that long to just finish it off, to just like clean it off so that the flats are tight. And when I say that the flats are tight, it's that no color is running from, for example, like no color from the hair is running into the skin or into the clothing or whatnot. Everything is in its proper line work, so to speak. So it's easier to select it and render the coloring with shadows and light and rendering techniques and what have you. And of course, adding effects afterwards as well. So yeah, I think that's gonna. I think that does it for tonight. For everyone that joined in, thank you so much for joining. Again, when I do the random streams, they are random, they are unannounced. So, you know, catch them while you can. Okay, let me just close out here. I saved here, so let me close the application, or the program rather, since it is running on my MacBook. I'm just gonna have one farewell drink, just to thank all of you again, because it's been one hell of a ride. In August, celebrating the 16th anniversary of my webcomic, just finding out that this month was the anniversary month of my YouTube channel, 15 years. Although I haven't created content all those 15 years. The channel is probably even older than 15 years, because I had made my account into a channel pretty much since YouTube had that ability to do that. I just didn't really bother uploading a video until, 2006 or whatever year it was, the 15 years ago. And the video wasn't even of my own characters, like I said in Boricua Contra Todo on Wednesday. It was a fan trailer I made of a webcomic of my mentor, Vigo Jimenez. I should re-show that video. As a matter of fact, I am just like as a manner of celebration. I'm going to go once again to Vimeo because that's where I uploaded the original version. Because again, at one point, YouTube got very strict with copyrighted material and whatnot, and this trailer does have a song by one of my favorite rock bands of all time, Katupeku Machu. Yes, come here. So I'm pretty much going to end this live stream by showing the original video that I uploaded into YouTube through Vimeo because I had to. I could show both versions actually. Like I showed the original version, and let me show the edited version because I had to switch it up because it was actually being blocked almost everywhere because of the music. So let me just sort out the videos. Right, let me just take out the music for now here. All right. Let me just look for the original video. This is the edited version of this video because I had to mute the original song and replace it with a generic YouTube song that they have in their catalog, which they deem as proper to use. It's still not that bad, actually, though. Yeah, MySpace. Unbelievable to think that was September 20th, 2007. That is mind blowing. Right, and now that you saw that original upload but with replaced music, to get the full experience, because I did this trailer, this fan trailer, with this particular song in mind because I thought it fit that world and that story so well. And the song itself is called Plan B, Anhelo de Satisfacción, from the band Catepecumachu, Argentinian rock band. And before I sign off by showing this original video, the video with the original audio, that is, I just want to make a small toast real quick. Because again, it may not seem like a big deal, especially compared to like all the big YouTubers or the big artists that have YouTube channels. To me, 300 was a big deal because, as I said before, even though I've had this um, channel for about 15 years now, I haven't been updating for 15 years. There have been, a lot of spots where I haven't uploaded for years and stuff like that. And it took me a couple of years to finally kind of get the courage to upload these trailers, upload videos, and whatnot. And again, one of the big inspirations for uploading it was and still is to an extent James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, and of course the nostalgia critic as well. And I've been told actually by people that have been watching that are new to the channel and have watched the older videos, they would tell me like this has like very nostalgia critic and AVG on vibes here, and fair enough. They were my biggest inspirations, and to an extent, they still are. To be honest, James Rolfe and Doug Walker. Again, two of the greatest creative minds in the whole internet YouTube space. That is anyway, and it's been a voyage. It has been a long, strange trip. These 15 years on YouTube. And I've told this story before on other live streams. At one point, when I was uploading consistently, um, Doug Walker's actual channel that he did with other content creators from Channel Awesome at the time, when they changed their channel to League of Super Critics, which is when they returned to YouTube after being on Blip TV for years. They were making their big return to YouTube, and they were doing just like edited version clip shows of their reviews to kind of promote them on a different server or whatever. So this was like before they were like full on back on YouTube. And they were actually subscribed to my channel. At one point, even Hoodoo was following me on Twitter. Like I don't know how all that happened, to be honest. But the channel was slowly kind of starting to turn into a thing. And just like I said earlier about imposter syndrome and whatnot, when I saw that it was starting to like kind of gain traction, I stopped doing YouTube for like a year. Yeah, it's a recurring thing with me. Like my biggest enemy is myself, really. And then I was like uploading sporadically every other month and whatnot. And then I was starting to upload more consistently again when the 100 days of making comics challenge came out, of doing like these vlog style videos about working on your comic and whatnot for at least 15 minutes a day. That seems something very appealing to me. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, here we go again. So yeah, self sabotage seems to be a recurring theme with me, but hopefully I'll be able to keep that off for a little while longer, at least until I get some of my comics out there anyway. So yeah, 15 years of being on YouTube. And again, I was starting to like get a lot of traction again doing the 100 days of comics videos of making comics. But that's when also like the whole um ad apocalypse happened on YouTube, and things were getting so screwy. Like one of the things that kind of killed my enthusiasm for YouTube was one of my older videos. I explained about it. I got um, my monetization was suspended for 30 days because one of my videos was doing better than average. It made like maybe 15 cents more because back then I was monetized when it was easier to become a YouTube partner. So one specific video did like 15 cents more than the average of money that my YouTube created. And oh no, this is why I started my stream late. My cat hunter, the assistant editor, was very frisky and was knocking everything down. And now he's saying hello again because I guess he heard me say that I'm going to finish the stream. Anyway, my monetization was knocked out for 30 days because they want to inspect that, it wasn't bots viewing it or whatever. And there was no way to appeal it. It was like, no, you're not being monetized for 30 days and that's it. That's final. And so I had to wait out the 30 days while my videos were not monetized and facing like the real danger, no pun intended, of my channel being shut down if they found that it was indeed irregular views, because it was called like advertisement cheating or something like that, or advertisement fraud or something. Like if I was like constantly putting on my own video or paying a bot or something to view the videos for me just to get a cent or two more from a particular video or something. Of course, when they finished their investigation, they saw nothing wrong with it, and my monetization was reinstated immediately after the 30 days. But by that point, it's like, I'm barely making anything as it is, and you're going to absolutely shut it out for 30 days. That's basically killing whatever income my channel would make at that time. So, again, it kind of like, at least it wasn't imposter syndrome at that point that prevented me from uploading more consistently, but it was just the broken system of, you know, of the YouTube algorithm and whatnot. But I learned to kind of take it in stride too. Like, I joke around a lot about it on the streams on Wednesday that not too long ago somebody actually tried to false flag my channel down, and it really backfired. And thankfully YouTube actually responded very quickly to the claims that I made, the counterclaims and whatnot, and presenting evidence, to the false claims. And it didn't, you know, escalate into being like getting a strike or anything like that. Like the worst that happened was that one specific video was age restricted for no reason at all, other than someone must have false flagged it. And again, like I've been on YouTube, my channel has been up for 15 years. I have seen all those shadow elements of people mass flagging videos just to like knock down a channel out of malice, and some person in particular, I've heard the rumors of who it was. I'm not going to get into it because this is not the kind of content I make for my channel. Took it upon themselves to flag any and every video, I guess, that they could. And of course, eventually YouTube, since a lot of it is bots that actually do it and not actual human beings, then eventually one of those flags will stick, one of those complaints will stick because it'll be picked up by the bot instead. And that's pretty much what happened in this case. That one particular video, actually, it was one of the 100 days of making comics videos that I did like 3 years ago or something ridiculous like that. The age restriction didn't last even a day because I presented my case. I wrote to YouTube. A human employee went through the trouble of verifying the video, and they did it very fast. I was actually surprised that they did it as fast as they did. Who knows? Maybe they took into consideration also that I have been around for 15 years and I've never had a strike, whether it be a copyright or community. I have never gotten a strike on my channel. So I've been in good standing for a very long time, is what I'm saying. So they found nothing violent or offensive on the video, so the age restriction was taken off. I did a nice little video celebrating it, fun times, and I just rolled with it, like you just kind of learn to have fun with it to an extent. I've seen a lot of things in 15 years, a little bit more counting just watching YouTube content before I started doing my own content on this platform. So I've been around. I do not recite the old spells to me, which I was there when they were written. I know that's not exactly the quote, but if you know, you know. Anyway, before showing the unedited original version of the very first YouTube video I uploaded, a toast to all of you. Thank you all who has given me your support in any amount, whether it is viewing my videos, liking it, sharing it, commenting it, interacting in the live streams, in the comment sections, in the chats. Um, to everyone that's read my comic or discovered my artwork, or more importantly, at least to me, discovered other creatives and other colleagues through the videos that I make. Thank you all so, so much. I really do appreciate it. I can't be more grateful than to have this channel for so long and to actually be growing the way that I've been growing this past year that I started doing YouTube probably the most consistently that I've ever done. You know, going from about 90 subscribers at the beginning of the year, about 15,000 channel views. Now I'm very close to 175,000 channel views, and I'm at 302 subscribers. So that is a huge, huge growth. I don't know where it's going to go from here because I never really planned these things. They just happen. Kind of like Boricuas contra todos. That's something that just happened. Um, I have told the story, and for those that don't know, Boricuas contra todo, the live streams that I do on Wednesday, is not my idea. Chavo Rodriguez came up with the concept of doing a live stream. At first, it was going to be just one live stream that he suggested that we do together, and we did it. People really liked the chemistry that Chago and I have on the live streams, and you know the obvious fun that we have when we're doing the live stream and the fun we have with the um, viewers in the chat as well. So it's kind of become a thing. He's the one that came up with the concept of Boricuas contra Todo, the name, even the visual motif as well of the logos. He just like told me like his ideas of how we could do logos and such, and um, I designed it based on his ideas. So if you want to blame someone for Boricuas contra Todos, you can gladly blame Chago Rodriguez for it. Go to his channel, subscribe, and share it in the comments. Thank him for creating Boricuas contra Todo, which is definitely also one of the reasons that the channel has gotten the views and the subscribers that's getting now as well. Um, Once again, thank you all so much for the support. Bottoms up, raise a glass. Oh, and more and very, very important, raise a glass to our friends that are no longer around. Jose Reyes, Gelo, Pedro Cortez. A lot of people don't know about Pedro Cortez. The last time we spoke was the day before he passed away, and we actually talked about him coming onto my channel to do a live stream, and he was super excited about that. So I'm kind of glad that the last conversation, even though it was always a great and pleasant experience chatting with him, but one of the very last conversation we had was about collaborating and you know try to make a better place for Puerto Rican and Hispanic creators, not just in Puerto Rico, but you know in Latin America and the U.S. and whatnot. He was always so positive and always so willing to put in the work. Anyway, to fallen friends, to all the supporters, to all the friends that are still with us, family, um, with everything that's been happening, I hope everyone that's viewing this either live or in the replay, take some time to just hug someone and tell them how much you appreciate them. That's always something that's welcome to another person, to let them know how much you love and appreciate them. Just like I'm telling you guys that I love and appreciate every single one of you that have supported me. Um, Throughout this whole strange trip of YouTube and the web comics and the comics and freelance projects and just the overall craziness and you know all over the place that I've been. It's not that easy dealing with a creator like that isn't like that consistent and has that like perpetual imposter syndrome in their minds, but this is the longest that I have stick to doing YouTube. It's been the most fun I have had ever doing YouTube, and I hope you all look forward to the future projects. And here's to all of you. Once again, thank you. Raise a glass. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll probably try to live stream at some point during the weekend. And now I'm going to leave you all with the unedited version of the very first YouTube video that I actually uploaded. Let me go ahead. Right, and with this, I bid you all a good morning, really. Good morning. Have a great day. Have a even better weekend, and I will catch you all next time. Until then, stay creative, my friends.
Y ya me siento en mi opinión. Nadie cree en mi opinión. Y si solo es el aliento de mi alma que alimenta mi calor. Si me encuentro hablando solo, si me encuentro hablando solo, no me importa, es mi obsesión. Si volando redescubro mis heridas, ya no me importa mi dolor. Cuando faltas, me haces falta la conciencia, la ilusión, la conquista de mi alma, mi alma, mi alma, y al conflicto negación. No reces por mí, no hables, no hables, no hables por mí, no reces por mí.
Do